Kamaru Usman is all for Henry Cejudo's suggestion that he take on Sean Brady next. Kamaru stated in a recent Pound for Pound podcast session that he likes the notion of the old school versus the new school battle because he thinks the victor would be well positioned to compete for a belt. He recognized Brady's progress, particularly since he started working with Dean Thomas, and commended his recent performance against Edwards. He also described his ideal route to a championship run, naming Waken Buckley, Brady Shavkat Rakhmonov, and the latter as possible opponents in that order. The previous champion is a nightmare for anyone in the division because of his diverse skill set, and he is still confident in his ability to shut down any style. Kamaru thinks his experience, adaptability, and pressure will be too much for the up-and-coming opponent if the Brady fight takes place. According to Usman, he is far from done and still a major threat to the best welterweights. It would be an intriguing wrestler versus wrestler contest to see him take on Brady. How do you feel about this altercation? Comment below.
I think there is a perfect matchup for a guy like Brady versus a Nigerian nightmare, Kamaru Usman. What's up?
You know, that's a good point, Henry, because when you look at styles and the way that fights work, myself and Kobe Covington, what did everyone say? Oh, they're both wrestlers. Oh, they're both economical fighters, and they're both this, and you saw what that turned out to be. All right, we cancel each other out. We ain't even try to grapple. Let's bang it out. Pause. Hey, this has the potential to be one of those fights. I like Sean Brady. I like the way he approaches the game. Honestly, to what makes sense would be, if I had to pick the order, I would say Brady, Shavkat, Buckley. Brady, Shavkat, Buckley. That's what makes sense, because Brady, winner of Brady and I, we fight for the title next. Because if you look at what Sean Brady just did, you just took out a former champion.
Robert Whittaker discussed his opinions on Jan Blachowicz and Carlos Ulberg's extremely close bout at UFC London. He noted that although Berg's strategy of stinging Jan with attacks, maintaining distance, and remaining mobile was successful, it didn't result in overwhelming damage, making the score up for debate. He acknowledged the challenge of assessing such a hotly contested fight. Jan has stated that he intends to bounce back stronger and that this is not the end of his journey. The 42-year-old former champion demonstrated that he still has what it takes to compete with the best, despite overcoming a difficult injury and the difficulties that come with aging. He's far from done, as seen by his experience and toughness. Berg's victory places him in a strong position to face Yuri Prohaska in a potential title eliminator. The light heavyweight title scene, meanwhile, is well defined, with current champion Magomed scheduled to face Alex Pereira again in August. In your opinion,
mate, whenever you leave it to the judges, it can always be like, and it's a close fight. There's always going to be debate there. Now, this is tricky because of, like, when we start talking about things like effective strikes. Whenever you're in a close fight like this, that's why Carlos's stylistically going into this fight with Jan like that, they're like stinging him, moving away, controlling the space, stinging him, moving away. Like it's over 3 rounds, and there aren't a lot of effective strikes. This very well could have been Carlos's win. I mean, Jan's win. Yeah, very easily could have swung the other way. It's so dangerous to leave it in the hands of the judges for such a tight fight like this. Yeah, but I think potentially Carlos could have been wary of a potential takedown, as they were both very hesitant, weren't they?
During a recent visit on the Russian MMA station MMA Brotherhood, Arthur Chimaev, Khamzat's older brother, revealed a shocking revelation about Khamzat. He disclosed that Khamzat and 2 men engaged in a heated altercation on the street. Arthur claims that when one of the men began laying into the unbeaten Chechen, the other grabbed him. However, everything changed as Khamzat reached his breaking point. In a bizarre turn of events, he lost it on the 2 men and pulled out a knife. Arthur highlighted Khamzat's rage, stating that it drove him to a level that few have witnessed. To add to the craziness, MMA Brotherhood made public video purporting to capture Khamzat and the 2 men fighting in the street. The mystique surrounding Khamzat's tough demeanor both inside and outside the cage is greatly heightened by this tale. What Khamzat's brother had to say was this: Khamzat was once attacked by 2 strangers on the street. While the other beat on him, the first one held him. Khamzat got a black eye when he returned home. I had to question him, as his older brother, why he allowed those individuals to defeat him. He became so enraged and passionate by this topic that he started to feel like crying. "I'll kill them both," he screamed as he rushed into the kitchen, and snatched up a knife. I was attacked by them, Haas, one-on-one. I had to calm him down and take the knife away from him. Khamzat has always been that kind of guy. He always carried a heated argument to its conclusion when it arose on the streets. He always pushed forward and never gave up. Recently, Alexander Volkanovski shared his thoughts on a possible conflict between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. Vogue thinks it all boils down to whether Ilia can capture Islam and get that devastating shot, based on his experience against both. He emphasized that although it is risky to strike in Islam, the greatest danger is his grappling. Given that Ilia and Dana White are hinting at major news coming, a conflict with Islam appears likely. Islam's squad has stated that they do not want to immediately offer Ilia a chance to win the title, though. There has been substantial discussion about the delay because many supporters think Ilia has already merited his chance. The Georgian has since changed his moniker from El Matador to La Leyenda, which translates to the legend.
Yeah, so it's look, it just comes to can Ilia catch him? You know, that's what is, and he definitely can. Ilia's very, especially with his approach, he really backs his strike and his boxing. He really knows that he will eventually find the chin, and he's stoic till that happens, you know what I mean? He is on task and he doesn't, you know what I mean? He'll go, even if things aren't working, he's still going to try and find it. So I think Islam's going to be a tough matchup for him because Islam can be quite defensive and safe. I think he's going to know he needs to play it safe with Ilia because he knows Ilia is going to have that puncher's chance. But I just think them later rounds, you know, is going to be very difficult for Ilia. So, but Ilia can, if he puts hands on anyone, like if he traps them, you know, gets them where they don't want to be and lands a nice big shot, it's going to be game over. You know, I mean, he can knock out anyone, even in the lightweight division.
Fans, what are your thoughts? Can I witness Topuria deliver the decisive blow required to overthrow Islam Makhachev, or will he be overwhelmed by Islam's wrestling?